morning, everyone. Today, I will be presenting a statistical analysis entitled Public Hospital versus Private Hospital Patient Wait Time, a hypothesis testing analysis. Healthcare service quality play an important role in patient satisfaction and hospital efficiency. One of the major issues faced by healthcare institutions is patient waiting time. Long waiting time can reduce satisfaction, increase stress, and negatively impact healthcare experience. In Malaysia, public hospitals are often crowded before they provide affordable healthcare service to many patients. Due to the high number of patients, waiting times are usually longer. In contrast, private hospitals generally provide faster healthcare service because they have fewer patients and more flexible systems. According to Malaysia Healthcare Study published in PubMed, patients in Malaysia public hospital wait more than 2 hours on average before receiving treatment. This shows that waiting time is still a major healthcare issue in Malaysia. Therefore, our study aimed to analyze patient waiting time in public and private hospitals using hypothesis testing method, specifically the one-sample test and Wilson's t-test. Next, I will explain the objective of our study. The first objective is to determine whether the average waiting time in public hospital exceeds the acceptable benchmark waiting time. The second objective is to compare the average waiting time between the public hospital and private hospital. Those objectives help us evaluate healthcare service efficiency and identify significant differences between the two healthcare sectors. For this study, our group used secondary data obtained from reliable healthcare journal, academic article, and Malaysian healthcare report related to patient waiting time. We select secondary data because it provides more reliable and realistic information supported by published healthcare research. The statistical finding and waiting time information from two studies were used as reference in our hypothesis testing analysis. The variable inputs in this study included independent variable and dependent variable. The independent variable is hospital type, which refers to public hospital and private hospital. Meanwhile, the dependent variable is patient waiting time, which is measured in minutes.
Explain the reason for choosing the statistical tests used in this study, which are the one-sample Z-test and well-t-test. First, one-sample Z-test is chosen because it helps compare the sample mean waiting time with a known or expected waiting time. This test is suitable when the sample size is large and the data are numerical, such as patient waiting times. Using this test, we can determine whether the actual waiting time is significantly different from the standard waiting time. Next, well-t-test is used to compare the average waiting time between government and private clinic. This test is more appropriate because it does not assume equal variance between both groups. In reality, government clinics usually have more patients, causing waiting time to vary more compared to private clinics. Besides that, well-t-test is suitable because the two groups are independent from each other, meaning the patient in government clinic are different from the patient in private clinic.
Next is well-t-test. Patients at public hospitals complain about long queues and waiting times before seeing doctors, while private hospitals are believed to provide faster medical treatment. After collecting the data, the case study found that patients in public hospitals waited longer on average than in the private hospitals. The average waiting time at public hospital was 145 minutes with a standard deviation of 40 minutes, but in private hospital it was 55 minutes with a standard deviation of 20. So this is the step to calculate Wells t-test. Step 1, state the hypothesis. The hypothesis for this study are null hypothesis, HO. There is no significant difference in the mean waiting time between public hospitals and private hospitals. Alternative hypothesis, H1. The mean waiting time in public hospitals is significantly longer than private hospitals. Mean waiting time in public hospitals, mean waiting time in private hospitals. Step 2, significance level. The significance level used in this study is alpha equal to 0.05. This means the researcher accepts a 5% level of error. Step 3 is calculate. This is the West t-test formula. Substitute the values after the calculation. The t-value is 14.08. Step 4 is degrees of freedom. This is formula for find degrees of freedom. After calculation, df equal to 76. Step 5 is determine the p-value. T equals to 14.08. df equals to 76. The p-value is p smaller than 0.001. Step 6 is decision rule. Reject HO if p smaller than 0.05. Fail to reject HO if p bigger than 0.05. Since P, the null hypothesis is rejected. Step 7, interpretation. The results show that there is a difference in doctor consultation waiting times between public hospitals and private hospitals. Based on Welch t-test, the case study concludes that waiting time in public hospitals are significantly higher than in the private hospitals. Therefore, the alternative hypothesis is accepted.
Slide, we can see that we need to find a one population z-test. The sentence, we can see that it already mentioned the sample size is 15 and mean waiting time is 145 and the standard deviation is 40 and population mean is 120. Step 1, we need to know the null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Null hypothesis is 120 minutes and that is HO. H1 is greater than 120 minutes. So the standard deviation is 5%, it will be 0.05. So the formula is x minus with mean and divide with standard deviation and then divide with the square root sample. Step 4, we need to put the number in that formula. 140 minus 120 divide with 40 and then divide with square root 15. So the answer is 4.42. So from that answer, we need to refer to the z table for one tail test. And the critical value for the z table is 1.645. Next step is decision. So 4.42 is more bigger than 1.645. So the null hypothesis is rejected and we need to accept the alternative hypothesis. This is because the average waiting time for doctor consultation is significantly greater than 120 minutes.
In conclusion, based on both the z-test and the Welch t-test analysis, the results show that the difference in waiting time between public and private hospital in Malaysia. From the calculation, patients in public hospital experience much longer times compared to those in private hospital. This is supported by a large difference in mean waiting time, 145 minutes versus 55 minutes, and the rejection of the null hypothesis in both tests. Therefore, it can be concluded that hospital types significantly affect patient waiting time, with private hospital providing faster consultation service. This difference may be due to the factors such as higher patient volume and limited resources in public hospital. That's all from us.